Hey, AfterBuzzers, we're about to break down episode 4 of Imposters, Lenny Cohen, so stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
In lieu of the title of this episode, Lenny Cohen, we decided to throw some James Bond in the mix to start us off today. Hi guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. I will be hosting tonight as Sam Davison was not able to join us, but she will be back with us next week. I will be your host, Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at AllieGirl. And Mina, Wahab, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, but mainly Instagram, Mina Makes Magic.
Perfect. Well, we have so much to break down on this episode. So many drastic things happened.
Yes, this was so intense. I was on edge the whole time.
Totally. I mean, towards the end, we were both in shock of what went down. But before we get to that, we found out a lot about who Maddie was before she started on this whole journey of working for the doctor and how she was as a child.
Yeah.
How do you think that kind of reflects who she's being as this character that we're still trying to figure out?
I think she still was sort of mysterious, even though we did get an inside glimpse of who she was and that little snippet that she was in French club and that's how she can put on the accent for Ezra. That's what we got. And then with seeing her father who has dementia and her mom who obviously misses her, it's just so sad to see that she fools them too and doesn't have that relationship with them because of her job. And we didn't get to know a lot about her. We did see the little Paris trinket that Ezra stole from her room, but other than that, we didn't get a good sense of who she was, just that she didn't really make a lot of friends and she seemed almost like quiet and evasive and mysterious, the same way she is now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you make, because even her dad was talking about when Ezra was reading that synopsis out of the book, he was like, that's how I feel, there's a void missing when she's gone. So it was really sad that even though like her dad has dementia and her mom is taking care of her dad, lusting for her daughter to come back and give them any sort of signs like, I'm okay, this is where I am. But I was wondering if, she didn't say this obviously, but I was wondering if maybe in some sort of way she's sending money home, so maybe she's doing it for her dad. I don't know, that's kind of something that crossed my mind. Because another thing is I thought we saw a sensitive side of Maddie this episode. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. I feel like we saw parts of her come out, and not so much the work Maddie, but her fighting to do the job that she's supposed to do and trying to fight against her feelings, but we kind of saw her feelings for Patrick really surface and change everything.
Definitely.
The minute she experiences any human emotion, it conflicts with her job duties.
Yeah, I think what was a great thing that we saw with her relationship with Patrick when they went out to lunch, which is completely innocent in the eyes of anybody else, but considering she's on this job as Saffron, she's not supposed to be making any other connections.
Right.
But she had thrown out a couple little things on her lunch with Patrick, and one of them was she was talking about her life and what there is to know about her, and she was kind of like, I'm an open book, and that, dang it, I thought I wrote this one down, but there was something that she had mentioned in the beginning of lunch, and she basically was kind of like,
ask me anything, kind of thing. And then he goes, what's your favorite color?
Yeah, but there was something else too where she, dang it, I can't believe I forgot it, but she was basically kind of alluding to the fact of, it's lonely. It's lonely doing this. But then she said, but it's something temporary doesn't mean that it's not real. That was exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And I found that so interesting because it seems like so far each person that she's been able to I guess con, she's had some sort of feeling for them. And so I think this is the first person that she has no attraction, no feeling, no sense of even a glimpse of light in towards of making this a successful relationship. So I think maybe that's why this one's a little bit different.
Yeah, this one isn't something that she can just con. It's more like you see her, Saffron personality turn off and her Maddie personality turn on, and it's just so crazy. Like, it's so nice that we finally get that payoff in the episode where we start to see her, but the minute we get the payoff, it's stripped away from us.
Yeah.
And she gets punished for being herself.
Totally. And I mean, she's completely falling in love. And we saw her break down when Gary totally came out of nowhere, just like almost looks like he's gonna run them over. And his crazy obsessive personality kind of ruins this moment that Maddie was feeling was real.
Yeah, and what sucks is that she didn't give Patrick that validation or, you know, acknowledgement. She said, this is my friend.
Yeah.
Not, you know, she kind of, like, put him in this sphere, like, he's the other, I'm loyal to you.
Yeah.
And she never reprimanded her boss in front of Patrick.
Yeah.
She reprimanded him when Patrick didn't get to see it. So for all Patrick knows, she's just someone that is, you know, trying to please her boss in order to get special treatment. So that, like, her whole, the way he views her now is probably very negative.
Definitely, because that was definitely not a great encounter to leave on, especially because right before he had come up, he was basically saying, I want to date you, and I want to get to know you more. So it was kind of upsetting to see that, because I think Patrick seems like a great guy. I don't see any flaws in him so far. But then Gary he just totally ruined that moment. And I don't know about you, but I see that his insecurities, like Gary's insecurities, are what make him this aggressive behavior. Because everything he says when he's angry is like, oh, like, you think you're going to the gym, you think you're buff and everything. And then he, like, lashes out. And I've just felt like maybe that's kind of where his craziness lies.
Because remember, his wife left him for
the pool boy.
So it's like it's probably a trigger for him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, great, this girl that I'm finally connecting with, Saffron, is going to go after some hot guy and leave me even though we have a connection. But he's not even with her. So it's so crazy that, you know, he would do that and be like, I got you darts and here you go.
It was like he was being so obsessive over something that's not even his.
Yeah, like he's entitled to her, like she's his property or something.
Yeah, which is insane. And I mean, she called it how it was, that's for sure. She called him a Neanderthal.
That was like a whole other level of, you know, Maddie completely losing her ability to censor herself.
Well, yeah.
That was crazy that you see that part of her personality take over because she's so enraged and feels so violated and she's losing track of what her goal is. And this is scary. Like, can you get out once you're with the doctor, or is it like the mafia? Because it sounds like it's the mafia.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, we get introduced to Lenny Cohen a little bit later into the episode, but so far it's this, like, mysterious, just, like, it's scary. Like, I don't know if she will be able to get out of it. I don't think that
it sounds like you have to fake your own death to get out of it or something.
Which I kind of think is what Sally is kind of working here. You know what I mean? Catherine, great work, by the way. This was a great episode.
I was going to say, oh my god, thanks, Catherine, for not revealing anything during your time here.
Yeah.
Like, we tried to squeeze every little bit out of her and be like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? She really covered that up well.
And we'll get more into the end of that episode later, but I just wanted to shout her out right there. But I think that's kind of what we're getting at, is when she saw the money, she saw it as an escape from the doctor, because right now there's no other way she can get away from this. But if she has enough money, that's enough comfort to kind of push her and get her out the door, I guess.
What do you think happened between them? We didn't see, you know, between Sally and Gary. Because obviously Gary was getting crazy and he was about to attack her. Do you think that what she did was self-defense, or do you think she took it extra far knowing that she had to finish him off?
I think it was probably self-defense, where she knew if she didn't do that, she would be the one dead.
But I'm sure she could have defended herself without killing him. I feel like she wanted to finish him off so she could run with the money without a trace. And it's so shocking to see that Maddie had her back, and it was an unspoken agreement that she would let Sally go with all of the money.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, but that's something that could help her out in the end.
But you know what's so scary is, I was thinking about this from, like, a legal standpoint or, like, an incrimination standpoint. You know, obviously Maddie went inside and this is a crime scene at this point. So if police officers come, her fingerprints are all over this. And is she going to call the police first? Is she going to call the doctor first? Is she going to call Uma Thurman's character first, Lenny Cohen? Like, who's she going to, what's her next step? I guess we'll get into that when we reach predictions. But it's just scary to know that I feel like no matter what outcome Maddie chooses, she's screwed either way. Like, anything what can she do to not harm herself? There's no way that she can. I feel like everything is so incriminating at this point for her, and she's not going to throw Sally under the bus. So what's going to happen? Yeah, I mean, it's all very intriguing and interesting. I will definitely say this episode kept me on my toes the entire time. But kind of a little bit of lightheartedness that got added to the episode was the whole Ezra and Robbie. Like, that trio, like, they are just awesome together. Yeah. What did you think about them? Kind of, it was like funny how they put Robbie. Or Ronnie? Is it Robbie or Ronnie? It's Robbie. Oh, is it Robbie? Yeah. Okay, I always forget. Oh, did you say Ronnie? Yeah, I thought it was Ronnie. Unless I'm wrong. Or Richie. Oh my gosh, maybe, Richie. Yeah, so we're both off. We're both. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Okay, yeah, no, it's Richie. So, are you sure? I thought it was Robbie. I'm almost positive. Maybe it's one of those days, guys. It's such a long day for me that now I'm scared to say Richie, but I thought, 100% it's Richie. So, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. I'm probably completely wrong right now. But anyways, I thought it was funny how they changed into a couple, and it was Channing and Jenny for the episode to try to con Maddie's mom into revealing some secrets about her daughter. Right. Which, did you think it was kind of, what's another thing that's kind of crazy about this whole trio is everything that they've wanted to know, they've made a leap, a bound every episode in finding her. Yeah. So. And I almost feel like it was, because you mentioned this too when we were watching, we're like, oh, how convenient that the dad just so happens to have dementia. Yeah. Like, what are the chances, you know? Well, yeah. That would work in his favor like that. And I was like, of course it would work in Ezra's favor, because I feel like I just feel like an innocence about him. Like, no, he can't get in trouble. Like, they just can't do that to his character. Yeah. But it was really interesting to see how they all have totally grasped this whole con vibe, and they're really just like running with it. Who is the best con man / woman out of the three of them? So far, I think it's kind of Ezra, because I think he's almost truthful about what he's doing, like kind of with the dad. He wasn't trying to hide anything. Yeah. So I feel that's kind of what Maddie's doing, is it feels so authentic. And I think Ezra, he's not meaning to. He's just authentically being not himself in a con way. He actually mentions that when he's giving Richie advice. He's like, no, you're not going to be a senator, okay? You got to, like, make it as close to the truth as possible so that it doesn't feel far-fetched. Yeah. So that is his strategy. You're totally right. Yeah, and then we've got Richie, Robbie, whatever, Channing. Yeah. I thought it was so great because he keeps talking himself up. Like, he wants to be a senator. I thought it was funny that he used Channing, since, like, he probably was relating it to Channing Tatum in his head. Yeah. And that's probably who he thinks he was. And then Maddie's mom was eating it up. As soon as Ezra was, like, when they were sneaking Ezra into the house, the mom was just like, oh, I could totally see you being a senator. It was like, this is great. This is great. Yeah, but I mean, I thought this plan was pretty successful on their half. What's the lady's name one more time? Not one of the imposters. It's Ava? Is it Ava? Is that her name? Okay, whoever the third person in the trio is, I'm getting so bad with names. I had it, like, down last week. I know, it's for whatever reason this week, because there's so many names and changing of names, I'm, like, losing it again. Yeah, because this whole episode, we were introduced to them as Jenny and Channing. Yeah. And then, so, like, Jenny, I'm just gonna call her Jenny. Yeah. So I think she's the best con man out of the three of them, not including Maddie, obviously. Yeah. Because I feel like she's the one who's the most resourceful, and she just figures stuff out, and she knows how to improvise. Like, no matter what it is, if it's throwing that, like, giant thing and smashing the window, whatever it is, she has very bold choices that she makes, and she sticks with it, and she's very convincing and believable, and I think she does the best job. No, I totally agree with you. That's a great statement that you just made, because of the fact that she's been the one. I think we mentioned this last episode. She's the one that kind of just puts her, like, she's like, let's just do it, okay? And just like she got the software to make sure that they could track her down. Yeah, I totally agree. And that she knows exactly that, you know, Maddie's in Seattle now. Oh, she's checked in. Like, she's kind kind of like the brains.
Yeah.
Ezra, I feel like, tries to be the brains, and he gets lucky a lot of the time, and he's kind of holding it together.
You're right.
But remember when they were just a duo, when it was Ezra and Richie? Like, now that they have Jenny, like, I feel like they're so much stronger, and they're a solid group now.
They are. They needed that, like, one extra person to kind of, like, hone them in.
Yes.
But, I mean, even now, like, we see, like, Channing in this episode, he was like, we've got to get the phone back. And it was like, he was, like, being a really good guy.
He was, like, so sweet.
Contrary to what he did with the waiter.
Who's the weakest link? Who's the weakest imposter? Who's going to mess it up for everyone?
Ooh. Messing it up, I feel like it could be Ezra, because I feel like he still has so much sentiment towards her. Mm-hmm. I think we even saw that in the room. We had both mentioned, this is kind of, I said it was creepy. I think you had mentioned, like, that's sweet.
I was like, oh, that's so sad. Like, he's,
sad.
He's seeing, like, a glimpse into this woman that he loved. Like, it's so sad.
I don't even know if it's so much as sad or more just, like, weird. Because he knows who she is now, and after, well, I guess he wasn't sitting there.
Yeah, but you can't let go of those memories. Like, haven't you seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? Like, you can't let go. Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh.
Yeah, never mind. I was going to say, it's so hard to let go of memories when it's someone that you're completely in love with and you shared these, like, amazing times with.
Yeah. I mean, that moment between Arlen and Ezra, I was kind of like, all right, this is really sad. Because the dad's almost feeling the same way that Ezra was.
I know. That was heartbreaking. Even, I felt like the mom was more heartbreaking. Like, her, just, like, seeing her, just because she's aware of what's going on. So that's what makes it worse, because she's aware of, like, the pain. She feels the pain, at least with the dad.
He, like, kind of...
His pain is more like, we feel it more than he does, because he's unaware of like, he knows he has dementia, but he's unaware of the things that he's experiencing.
Definitely. I mean, it was even kind of sad that the mom was just showing them all these pictures that were photoshopped.
Like, and it was such an obvious Photoshop job, too. I was like, what the hell? Come on.
It was like they went to,
literally, like, head, just a head, and then, like, she's like, Kenya or whatever country they were in. I was just like, this is so terrible.
Yeah.
So messed up.
I'm just wondering, you know, besides the fact that Maddie would try to maybe bring money back to the family, what do you think is essentially her reason for leaving? And going on...
No, I don't know. This is the thing. Remember when Patrick asked her last episode what her family's like and that he doesn't know anything about her family?
Yeah.
And she was so cryptic about it. She was kind of like, I don't really talk to them much, you know? And then she changed the subject. So when I heard that last week, I thought she had a bad relationship with her family. Seeing it this week... I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure she has a great relationship with them.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, she has to protect them. And I think that at this point, and this is just like my theory, I think that the reason she can't get out is because the doctor probably knows her family and she doesn't want to jeopardize anything and have them killed. Because Lenny Cohen could easily go after them.
Yeah, so she's trying to keep it, like, as far from home as possible.
That's why she's trying not to get emotionally invested. That's why she reads the text, and you can tell she's sad, but she doesn't respond. I feel like she wants to stay far removed. She doesn't want to give her family hope. She doesn't want her mom and dad to know what she's up to or to get invested because she doesn't want them to be a target for the doctors.
Yeah.
She probably, like, now that I think about it, she's probably, like, has their best interest at heart. I don't think she's doing this for herself because she seems like she wants to get out of it.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what was the moment that, like, drew her into this scenario? Like, how did she get dragged into this, you know? Was it by choice, or was it, like you're saying, and it was something...
Remember how she had no friends in high school and how she was kind of, like, the weakling? I feel like when you're that type of person, maybe when you try to find a sense of belonging, you might go through the wrong route to, like, try to feel a sense of belonging. It's something she was good at. She's talented. Even Lenny Cohen admits, you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you think I'm good at my job? Thank you. And it's true. She's good at what she does. So for her, it was almost like finding a place where she actually belongs now, outside of high school. And I think she might have been, like, recruited by Sally, and that could be why they have a strong relationship. I think there was some sort of recruitment going on.
Interesting. There's just so much. There's, as much as we kind of, I feel like, got, and like everything that got unveiled this episode, there's still so much more that we need to know. I mean, granted, it is only episode 4.
So there's so much about this episode that's so unsatisfying because it cuts you off on, like, this cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And you have so many questions that are left unanswered that I want to binge watch watch the rest.
It was, yeah,
And
but
that's not possible.
I mean, the craziness of it all is that Uma Thurman is now in the show as Lenny Cohen, and she totally was just, like, I thought she was amazing.
She
like,
killed it.
She killed the role of Lenny Cohen. I mean, I was scared just watching her. But also, Maddie, I found it kind of frustrating that she was warned by Sally about this whole Patrick situation. She knew what was at stake, but yet she still went about doing it. And so before we had talked about whether this was intentions of if she actually liked Patrick or if she was just doing it as like a con on her own.
She actually likes Patrick.
She's totally in
Yeah.
love, and I feel like she's kind of even blindsided by what the consequences would have been prior to Lenny showing up.
She probably just doesn't feel human at this point, you know? She
Yeah.
doesn't feel. She's alone. And it must be so frustrating for her to feel like all of her relationships aren't necessarily real. And she has to tell herself constantly, just because it's temporary doesn't mean it's not real. Like, that's what she tells herself to stay sane. You know, imagine, like, having all these loose ties and then it not being forever and you're just going on through life from person to person and you don't have anything long lasting. That's gotta be heartbreaking.
Yeah, but I mean, that's been her job, and that's what Lenny comes to tell her. She's not doing her job for this one case, which is Gary. And this thing just crumbled and crashed to the ground. Everything about this job now just got even more complicated. Because one, I mean, Gary went crazy. Two, he's dead now. Assuming that that's what that was.
Right.
He's completely... And then we have Sally in the mix, where... I mean, it just, there's so many discombobulated pieces, but
Right.
where is Maddie now going to fall into this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And going back to Sally, why does she keep opening the damn, like,
I know, like, she
floorboard?
knows
Like,
it's
she knows
there.
it's there. You've already looked at it like freaking 2 times already. Why are you opening it and looking at it again? Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And like the fact that he saw her doing it, that is so terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, why? And wouldn't you be super vigilant and cautious when you're doing that? You've already seen it twice. What are you doing, woman? Like, either take the money or don't. Like, what are you doing?
Yes, Mina.
God.
Preach. I was actually thinking the same thing. Like, why do you need to go back in to the bottom of the stairs?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I was wondering if, like, maybe she was starting to take some, like, little by little. Cause I don't know if I'm just imagining this, but I thought that the wad of cash started going down. But maybe I just imagined that.
I guess I never kept track or noticed that in the beginning, but maybe he constantly fills up that place with cash.
Oh.
But if he does, then it wouldn't make sense if she was taking
Like,
it
taking
up for
it
him not to
then
notice.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't know. And Maddie, and going back to your question on what is Maddie's role in all
Yeah.
of this, God, she is, like, stuck in this terrible mix of, like...
Messiness.
Yeah, it's... She has probably the worst position possible right now.
Definitely.
Like, I think even worse than Sally, because at least Sally has the money and she's gone.
Yeah.
Like, Maddie is still there, stuck in the midst of it, and has to figure a way to A, explain it to the doctor, B, explain it to Lenny Cohen, and C, potentially explain it to not just not just the police, but also Patrick, her coworkers,
like-
when she goes back. What, she's just not going to go to work the day that he dies? That's suspicious.
Well, maybe it's like what you had mentioned before. The doctor is a real doctor and can hide this person, you know, from, I don't know, being, you know, he would mention something about how because he's a doctor, he can kind of hide these people from dying.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but
maybe
this guy is a huge exec. Like, he's not
going to just fall under the radar.
Yeah, like, everyone's going to be like, what the hell happened to Gary? Where is he? Like, thank God he's not here, but where is he?
Yeah.
And it's just so sad to see that happen.
But the way they could pin it is that there were so many interactions with him outside in public that he was being aggressive that maybe they could, like, you know, pin it back towards that, because he was found, like, driving up. Patrick was there, like, you know, he was a witness to him being super aggressive towards her there. Then in the office when he screamed at her for the signature. So maybe it's some way they can pin it back on Gary, as creepy and weird as that is. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, it's all just, like, kind of all convoluted right now, because I was not expecting that at all. I mean, tell me your thoughts. When I saw, like, that whole altercation go down, I thought Sally was going to be able to convince him against what he saw, one, and two, maybe my mind was just going crazy of like trying to think of like better things in the worst possible case scenario. And I thought that maybe when he was asking her for a drink, we thought he saw her like looking at the cash, but really he didn't.
Yeah.
And then they would fall in love, and then Sally would be the but like that was my when I was like trying to like grasp all of the things that could be possible.
Because I had two thoughts for this. First was I was like positive he saw her with the money, because the expression on his face was like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But then I kind of like went back a bit, and I was like, but did he actually see the cash, or did he just see her in that area?
Right.
But then I was my other guess was, I thought that Sally was gonna say, I thought she was gonna play dumb but also admit to seeing cash and saying, I found something in the floorboards. I didn't know what it was, and I got scared. But don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Like, type of thing. Like, because I felt like at that point, her denying it would be really stupid.
Yeah, because clearly he's amping her to say this.
Yeah, and just the whole, like, him passing her whiskey and trying to get her drunk, that was really scary.
I was
like, it
getting
was so
really
uncomfortable, and I thought that Sally was going to text Saffron during the whole thing, because she was, like, kind of trying to go to her purse and do something.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to, like, send some sort of, like, SOS to Saffron so that Saffron could come in and, you know.
Interesting.
That's why when Saffron did go
you
with
were like,
Lenny,
oh.
I was like, either she doesn't know or maybe she does know.
Yeah.
So it was really suspenseful, like just the whole build up of everything there.
Yeah, I agree, and I will say I was like kind of getting worried for a second that they were gonna kill off Sally's character, and
That's
I was like,
what I thought.
This is not fair. I'm not ready for that yet.
Is that what you thought when you saw the blood drops?
Yes.
Did you think Sally was
Yes,
gone?
I actually didn't think Gary was, because like, well, he's the job or whatever. So then I was just like totally convinced like that, but then when I saw Gary on the floor, I was like, okay, we got a little bit more of Sally, and then when we let her go, so I feel like that's gonna be maybe a realization to her character to be like, all right, like I was about to say Saffron, all right, Maddie, like we need to get ourselves out of this. It's not healthy, it's not great, like we need to get ourselves out. So I think this is maybe gonna be her wake up call.
And my other question is, why was Sally in the kitchen when his body was elsewhere? Did she drag it there, or did she stab him there and then go to the kitchen?
Yeah, because they had drinks over the table in the dining room, and then I think she was like, their altercation was in there.
And you think she was like trying to like escape the other way to just like sit down? Yeah,
and I think she was like hiding, like I'm scared, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. But the fact that she was able to get all the wads of cash even while she was like bleeding.
True. I mean, I guess that just leaves so many unanswered questions.
What's she going to do with the money?
I don't know.
Where is she going to go?
Let's get that into some predictions, I guess.
Yes, let's do it.
Alrighty, Mina.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What are you thinking?
Okay, so obviously the trio is going to go to Seattle, and my fear is that, okay, I think that Ezra is going to get caught up in this mess in a really bad and unfortunate way, and I think he might cross paths with Lenny Cohen. I think Lenny Cohen is going to be like, what the hell? How come, who are these three people? How come they know where you are? How come you left a trail coming back to you? I think that it's going to really complicate the situation when those three go to Seattle, and it's going to be insane.
Which you had made a great point when we were watching this episode, and you had mentioned, why haven't the other people gone to the police if they didn't get blackmailed?
Yes, and I still, it blows my mind. Why didn't they go? I'm like, you're not blackmailed. You can easily go to the cops and be like, this lady did X, Y, and Z to me. At least, like, put in a report so that they can find her.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to get facial recognition software, why not hand that stuff over to the cops?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless the doctor is somehow involved with
the cops
and it's some weird, crazy corruption ring. Because the fact that the doctor and Gary know each other, the fact that Gary is aware of who he was, it almost sounds like they were in business together and something went wrong.
You're right. It's like Gary maybe went off on his own kind of. What?
Because how would he know? How would he know who the doctor is? Like, most people that the doctor goes after, the other person doesn't know. But it seems like there's a trend that he is going after business people. But then that leaves the one girl and Richie. It's a bit confusing. But specifically the one girl, who was Jenny in this
Oh,
episode.
right. Because she's an artist.
Okay, I was going to ask you, what's her job? She's an artist?
She's an artist. Or like an aspiring artist.
So if she's an artist, she's the only person out of all of them that doesn't have some sort of business-oriented field, and a field that's definitely much more creative. So I wonder who she's linked to that's super powerful and like some sort of executive in a corporate field.
Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. So many crazy things. I mean, it was
So many things that
like
can happen
know,
next week.
I know you can like. There's
Lenny
so many
Cohen
theories.
is just like this looming, like terrible omen. Like,
yeah. And we see that in the previews that something bad is going to happen to one person, but we don't know who, we don't know what.
Who's it going to be?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could piggyback off of your prediction, which would be Ezra, because I feel like he's not the weakest link, but I think he's like the most you could kind of get more answers out, because he's, I feel, the most in love with his ex, which Maddie, you know, he's the most in love with her. But I don't know. I guess my prediction would be that what I kind of said earlier with Sally, and I think that Sally's going to come back and be like, Maddie, we got to go. I can get us out. And Maddie's going to stay because she's in love with Patrick, and she's going to eventually choose Patrick over, like, whatever this may be.
Right.
But that's going to lead her to, like, a roadblock, and, like, there's going to be confrontation.
What's the name of... Oh, Max. Okay, I was going to say Max, you know, Sally's counterpart.
Yeah.
Something about him is so unsettling and almost even scarier than Lenny Cohen, because even though Lenny Cohen is very aggressive and in your face, I feel like Max's ties to the Doctor is so strong and his loyalty is unparalleled that him knowing anything about you is very dangerous, because he's loyal to the Doctor first and foremost. And then maybe Sally second.
Well, I guess we will have to wait and see where those loyalties lie, huh?
Because I would like to see whether or not Max, if he finds out the whole ordeal about Sally, if he sides with Sally and tries to cover it up, or if he's honest with the Doctor about what he knows about Sally. Because it seems like there is a close bond between Sally and Max, but also between Max and the Doctor. So I'd like to see which side is stronger.
Well, hopefully we will get that answer in a couple episodes from now. But I guess that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Mina, where can they find you on social media?
Hey guys, you can find me on Mina Makes Magic on Instagram and Twitter.
And guys, you can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at AllieGirl. And if you're interested in any other after shows, I also do New Girl on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. And the arrangement starts next Monday at, I think we're doing that at 8 o'clock. So make sure you tune in, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.